What is happening is a massive release of information about the enormously corrupt practices that have been ongoing for all of human history, and which those in power have done their utmost to conceal until recently they've been very successful at doing this, and which they no longer have the power or support that they need to continue doing so. This has naturally led to an inordinate explosion of anger and resentment among the vast numbers of people who have been so deceitfully misled. And an intense desire for justice through criminal indictments of those involved at every level, followed by judgment and the imposition of suitable levels of punishment. Because of love that is inundating planet Earth, millions are coming to the realization that harsh judgment and punishment for those who've been behaving corruptly is not the way forward. That method has been in use for all of your recorded history, and although it has been partially effective in dealing with localized criminality, it has otherwise been just a recipe for disaster, destroying lives and building enormous amounts of anger, fear, and resentment. The question I hear is something like, I know my ego and it needs still drive me life in many ways, and yet I'm committed to growing into new ways of being and living. I'm doing the inner work even though it's challenging, and trusting life more than ever before, but sometimes I wonder what this is all for. I know my life will be different and amazing, but what will it really be like when I get there? This is a normal inquiry from those well on the path, yet who are still learning to navigate their way through the disruption and change that transformation creates. Naturally, they desire more clarity on where it leads, because it's both comforting and energizing to have some semblance of an idea. A vital aspect of the transformational journey is learning to trust deeply in life and spirit, and so I am not writing about 5D living to alleviate anyone's doubt or uncertainty about the future. I'm also not writing to shift anyone's attention from what is happening now, which is ripe with the lessons we each need to learn. The vulnerability of people at this stage of development is that they are still susceptible to the ways of the 3D world, because it's the world they participate in each day, and it continues to bombard mind and senses with messages about the rightness of its ways. In these times of discord and change, it is tempting to yearn for the times before Earth's ascension process began, because lives seem to be simpler and more peaceful then. However, these old times were just as much illusion as today. In fact, more illusory, for much was hidden and disguised as being right here years ago. Earth and her people have experienced the suffering of separation beliefs long enough, and the time has come for them to rise above the dream state that has held them in bondage for eons. A vital component in attaining a higher state of consciousness is the realizing, understanding, and living of impersonalization. It is the realization that the good and bad behaviors of humans are never personally theirs, but rather are superimposed over their divine selfhood by virtue of their having aspect into consciousness impersonal universal beliefs of two, powers and separation. It is much like throwing a blanket over a bright lamp. Some blankets are very dense, heavy, and difficult to remove, while others not so much depending upon the thrower. Every person from those considered famous or important to those considered the lowest by three-dimensional standards is in reality God individualized. Therefore, the only qualities a person can or ever will have been God qualities. The human conditions is much like the projecting of a film onto a person. A film created from and formed of whatever universal impersonal beliefs into powers and separation that have been accepted as truth. Every human presently incarnate is on earth now to help in your collective awakening process, even if, in human terms, it appears that some are living and delighting in lives of extreme deceit and corruption. All is being exposed, and those of criminal intent are demonstrated most beautifully, as their many deceptive practices are exposed. The insanity of following life of that nature, life that use and take advantage of others, and that show absolutely no honor or respect for anyone other than themselves. These people have all been severely traumatized and abused physically, emotionally, and psychologically at some stage in their present human lives, and found that the only way in which they could feel even a little bit safe was through a dishonest and corrupt life. They are often admired by others who do not have the courage to do the same. Deeply buried within them and totally denied is an intense sense of fear and self-disgust. Therefore, an important part of your awakening process is to be aware of the intense and deeply hidden pain of these unfortunate individuals, and include them in your daily intent to offer only love to others, regardless of what may arise in your daily human lives. 5D living then, because our existential reality, because the inner barriers of ego mind have been transcended to the degree that the ego is no longer the driver of our life experience, and something far more real has supplanted it, our higher self or soul, which is the multidimensional aspect of ourselves that is pure light and pure intelligence. When people progress on the transformational path towards enlightened living, they begin to live more attuned to the nature and power of their higher self and soul, and this is in turn foster a sense of interconnectedness with all things. That interconnectedness is reality, for in reality there is no separation, there is only connectedness, only oneness. Any limitation in your ability to perceive that oneness constantly does not mean it does not exist. It only means you have yet to make it your daily lived experience. The more you progress in your understanding of soul, spirit, and the nature of reality, the more you will begin to live in accordance with that sense of interconnection. That is what 5D living really means. It is not unity consciousness, I am one with all. It is love consciousness. The mind that rests in 5D living has learned to transfer trust and loyalty to love, and rests in the peace that comes with all loving. 5D living is more from soul, more from the heart, less from ego.